Welcome back to the She Suite Society. You know those moments when you realize the universe has been quietly connecting dots you didn't even know existed? That's exactly what happened with today's guest and me. Katie Elsass and I have been friends for years, swapping stories about our kids, debating the merits of true crime podcasts, and sharing more than a few glasses of wine. But somehow we never realized we were both warriors in the wild world of property management. While I've been over here doing my thing, Katie has been transforming lives through affordable housing, bringing her social work heart to an industry that desperately needs it. When most people see problems to solve, Katie sees people who need homes and hope. From navigating the absolute circus that property management can be, trust me, folks, we've seen everything, to juggling being present for our kids while building careers where the line between professional and personal gets blurry every single day. Katie brings compassion where others might bring judgment. So grab your coffee, wine, or whatever gets you through the day, because we're about to dive into a conversation about housing the unhoused, turning social work passion into tangible change, and why sometimes the best professional connections are hiding in your own friend circle all along. Please welcome my dear friend, the housing hero with the biggest heart, Katie Elsass. Katie, it's nice to have you on the podcast. Tell me, I was trying to stalk you a little to find out what your actual title is. Do you? I don't think I got very far. I got director of operations of some sort.
So
Tell me about it.
the official title is quality improvement director.
That's what it was.
Quality
Yes.
improvement director. Yeah, I'm sort of like not I don't have an online presence. I don't do much on
You
LinkedIn.
don't. I can't
No.
find anything.
No. It's funny because like I don't I just never thought of this as a career and I just kind of fell into it. So it's just like I don't try to like network. I don't like that's actually just not my personality anyway. So that's why you can't find me. But director of quality improvement and basically what that entails besides normal quality improvement. My team handles all of our compliance. So I'm in affordable housing. So my team handles all of our compliance regulations, policies and procedures. And then, quality projects kind of things, like some project management stuff as well.
How long have you been doing it?
So I've been in this role for 4 years. I work for Community Housing Network and I've worked there for 15 years and pretty kind of done it all at CHN. And now this is where I've kind of just fell into.
That's where you fell into. How did you always want to do this? Like, how did you end up over here?
Well,
Or is it like the rest of us? You just somehow
I
ended
was
up
gonna say
there.
property management. Most people do not set out like I'm going to
Nobody
be in
does.
property management. Most people just
No.
fall into it. I
Uh,
so I social work has kind of been my I don't have a degree in social work, but that's been kind of my um interest, so to speak. I when I Greg and I moved to Columbus 15 years ago, because this is the job that I got then, or the place I started working. And when we did that, I worked in Indiana for a township trustee's office. And in Indiana, they did like assistance. So people would come to the office and I would help like pay their bills, right? Like if they can't make
oh,
rent or they
oh,
can't pay for
nice.
prescriptions or basic
Yeah.
needs. And so we would do like an assessment and then we had some fun. So like social work, I was sort of like dabbling in that. I didn't realize I wanted to be a social worker until like halfway through college. So I never like finished and got the degree. I have like a general education degree. So, you just fall into these careers. And I always said someday I would go back and like get my LSW and like go do the traditional route, but it just never like worked out because first off, you don't make crap in social work. And
No,
why
you
go?
don't.
And I got to the point where I was like, why am I going to go and pay for schooling for something that's not going to like ultimately boost my income potential, earnings potential? So never did that. And then when we moved to Columbus, I was looking for something where I had more impact with clients. So, like in the township, I would see them in crisis, like I can't pay my rent. We would do the assessment thing, and they would leave, and I would never see them again until they were in crisis. And we would see clients in the morning, and then I'd have my afternoon. We would do investigations, like you vet their income and whatnot. And
Right,
my
right.
boss was like, so she knew what my interest was, and she was like, "Oh, you can like do stuff." So I held these like financial literacy classes in the afternoons, and like
Aw.
nobody would come because there wasn't like a requirement. Like nobody would come. I was like, I want people to not be in crisis. I want to teach them how to
Yeah.
manage their money, and had all these like
That's
hopes
amazing.
and dreams. So when I moved to
Yeah.
Columbus, I was looking for a job that I wasn't just like touch and go. Like I wanted to like invest in people. And
Right?
the position that CHN had at the time, we are we're pretty different than we were 15 years ago. It was a supportive housing coordinator was the title. And it essentially was a property manager, like, but it wasn't called that. And I didn't have all the traditional duties at that time. So
Oh.
I was almost like a property manager who was like a social worker, an on-site social worker, so to speak, but the title was just funky. But I didn't collect rent. I didn't serve like eviction notices. And then at that time, we did like annual recertifications for people in their housing. I didn't even do that. We had somebody at the main office that did it. I look back on those days and I'm like, what did I do with my time? Like there was lots of drama, obviously, but I'm
Yeah.
like, how did I do? So I fell into that, and what I loved about that was like, I'm in their homes, not in their homes, but like I'm
Yep.
in the building they
No,
live.
that's right.
You see them, like,
That's right.
when
You
they're
live where they work, or
yeah,
you work
work
where
where
they
they live. Yeah,
live. Yeah.
exactly. So, and then it just kind of went on from there. And then after I did that for a while, I opened up one of our new buildings at CHN, that new builds that we had, and worked that for a while, and then moved to the main office and did like regional management job because so supportive housing coordinator was the name back then, and then they morphed into we did like a strategic planning thing where we changed, and basically everybody then became property managers, right? Or you were a service coordinator, so you were like the engagement specialist, so to speak. And so I kind of fell into the property management track. um,
Was that like as the organization grew?
yes, yeah,
Or
so
okay.
CHN's been
It just
around,
started out smaller.
started out much smaller. It's been around now for like 35 years, but like it just grew and grew, and at about 10 to 12, more than that, probably like 12 years ago, they did a strategic plan where they're like, we can't be doing this grassroots stuff anymore. We need better structure. We need actual property managers. And we've gone the gamut of like hire, like how do you hire for this position? Because you got to have the like property management skills, but you also have to have the soft people
Mhm.
skills because we
Mhm.
house
You really
people
do.
who the requirements to live in our housing is you have to have some kind of a disability. You and some of our units, you have to have a history of homelessness. So we've got people that come to us
Really?
with trauma and with some baggage, so to speak, and they're not exactly always the best residents, but we ascribe to housing first. So we'll house you how you are, which means you don't have to be clean and sober. And a lot of people, particularly ones who are homeless, they treat their mental illness with substances because they're homeless. So they're not
Yeah.
linked with healthcare necessarily. And so our thought process is you house them where they are, and then with the hopes that we can connect them with the services that they need. So,
Are they homeless and jobless?
oh yeah, yeah, there's no income requirement. Most all of our units come with a subsidy, so people even with no income are able to afford the housing because it's, subsidized.
Covered. Do you find that you're in a shortage of housing?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, there's not enough affordable housing to go around, especially in Columbus.
I mean, I feel like that argument can be made for a lot of cities. It's just when we talk about housing in Columbus, those of us that are on the for-profit side, we're like, we've got units,
Yeah.
and our biggest issue is, we're building and we can't fill them. We can't fill them as fast as our pro forma
Mhm.
dictates,
Mhm.
and it's because I think there's a disconnect between what is needed that is affordable and what is that price point.
Mm.
There's a huge disconnect. So
Mhm.
they just keep building and renovating and doing all this stuff. People are moving here, but it's a very different way of work, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Like I hear what you're doing, and I've dabbled a bit in the affordable side just in terms of knowledge. Like I've
Mhm.
never worked affordable, to be very clear. I've
Hang
never
on, I
had
lost
to.
you.
Oh, did you
Oh,
lose me?
nope, there it goes. It came back. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you
It's
dabbled, but you've
okay.
never actually.
I've only learned.
Hmm.
I've never actually worked it, and of course, they've changed some, laws here in Columbus and Franklin County where it requires, all of us to accept vouchers for rent. That is a thing that we have to accept now, and so we had to learn, like, real quick
Hmm.
how to do that. So it opened our eyes a little bit, but when you talk about how do you qualify, for an apartment? We have hoops that you have to jump through to qualify. You
Hmm.
have to definitely can't have ever been homeless which is stupid, right? When you think about it, you're like
Hmm.
you're trying to find a home. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's crazy. But you're right. A lot of us just ended up here. We didn't think about it. We just ended up here. I just needed a job and I ended up working in property management because I happened to live somewhere that had a job
Yeah,
opening.
yeah,
Had that not happened, who knows where I'd be working right now.
yeah,
That sounds like a little bit like what you did. You were
yeah,
looking for social work, but you ended up
yeah.
doing
And I think,
kind of still social work.
yeah, I mean, it's still social work for sure, but I gravitate towards structure, and social
So then
workers.
you like the affordable housing
So
side
social
because you have a
workers
lot of structure.
aren't necessarily known for following rules and being able to be structured. So I have the heart of a social worker, but the brain of a property manager. Maybe that's, like,
I
these are this is the process. This is the policy. Like, this is what we have to do. I love writing policy. I love writing procedures. See, because that's one of the reasons, like, I fell into this particular role is I was a regional manager, and CHN was a little chaotic because as we grew and we shifted our strategic plan, we had no policies, no procedures. Like, it literally was like the wild effing west. Like, everybody just kind of did whatever they did, and it
Oh
drove
my
me nuts.
gosh.
And then, like, I had all this staff that didn't know what they were doing. Like, they used to be some other position in the company, and we just dubbed them, "You are now a property manager. Go, Katie. Here's your staff. Go." And I barely had any training as, like, a real property manager. And so it was just like I had to learn the job while teaching people the job. I mean, it was incredibly stressful. I mean, incredibly stressful. And I am not an anxious, stressed out kind of person, but that
Yeah, you
time,
never struck me as that.
no, I go with the flow, it's fine, but, like, it was clearly I was having issues because I was stressed out. I had a panic attack in the office. I would always be the first one in the office. I'm an early bird, and, it was a particularly stressful time, and I, like, went to my mailbox. This is back when you used to get a lot of mail, and I, like, got my mailbox, sat down in my office, and, like, everything that I was, like, looking at was like, action item, oh shit, oh that. And I just, like, I started to, like, breathe
Oh,
heavy, and I, like, got up and I shut my
oh my
door, and
gosh.
I was just like, I don't know what's happening. I called my husband, and he was like, I think you're having a panic attack. I'm like, oh, no, what to do. And I got home, I calmed myself down, like, I was able to get out of it. And I got home that night, and he was like, I'm done with this. Like, you come home, you're not nice, you're stressed out. It's not worth it. So, like, that night, I got on the computer and, like, applied for the first job that, like, I was like, oh, I could do that. And it was like a compliance specialist for some other small, itty bitty, tiny, affordable place. It was like probably a 10 grand pay cut. I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I applied. And just applying, I felt okay. Got a call the next day, and I just was like, for the next week, I was out of body, and I just went through the motions. Like, yeah, sure, I'll go in for an interview. Sure, I did the interview. They hired me, and I was like, I guess I'm taking the job. So I went and told CHN, like, I'm done. I can't live with this stress anymore. Like, I don't have staff that know what they're doing. I was really, in hindsight, like, because we had no processes. I had
Yeah.
nothing to point to. I had nothing to help my team out with. So I leave and I go to this tiny company, and it was affordable, but it was senior housing.
Oh,
And I was only there for 2 months. As I was there, I just thought to myself, and this is going to sound weird, but I'm like, these people don't need me, because, like, all of these seniors, they had assets, right? Like, the clients at CHN, if they have a bank account, they have 2 cents in it. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
they've got nothing, and so even though these seniors needed affordable housing and it was senior housing, I was just like, "Y'all don't need me, this is dumb." And at the same time of having those feelings, like, "What did I do? Like, this is not my passion, like, this is not what I'm not, like, doing good or whatever." My old boss at CHN texted me, she was like, "Hey, I have an idea. Um, we need somebody to write, process, and to train. Like, can we like create something?" And so I went
Oh,
back in
wow.
2 months. I went back and like they built this position specifically for me. And I like wrote all of our procedures. I did like project management and training work for like 3 years. And then the quality improvement director, it was just kind of a natural shift into where I'm at now. So yeah,
Yeah. How awesome.
yeah,
How awesome of them to recognize that that was a business need and that that also was your specialty
yeah,
and you already know the company. You already understand how it all works. What a seamless transition. Good for them for
yeah,
recognizing
yeah.
that.
And I
Really
still
good for
like
them. And
I've
good for you for recognizing that you needed to get out of a
well, I
situation.
mean,
Like, would
seriously,
they have realized that if you had stayed the whole time?
no, and I don't know, like, really what honestly, it was, like, very serendipitous, right? Because it like, thank God I left. My quality even that it was a summertime, so for 2 months in the summer, I just had the easiest job ever. Like, I went into work and came home, didn't even think about the job.
Yeah.
And it just was a relaxing couple of months. And then I was ready to get back to work and like challenge myself again. And our CEO she's actually leaving, which is really sad. We get a new CEO next week, which is going to be crazy. But
Oh,
it
that quick.
but it was her. Well, she's been on her way out for a while. So
Yeah.
they've been doing
Yeah.
a search. But Sam, our CEO, she was the one that first floated it to my old boss, was like, "What's Katie doing? Like, she needs to do it." And I've said this to her before too. Because of that role, I not only like really gained a better learning for property management, but for finance, for compliance at that point, for our maintenance department. I wrote all of those procedures. I learned how everybody did everything. And so I have this like 30,000 foot view of the agency now. And I keep telling her that. I was like, it's all because of you. And I still to this day feel fulfilled in this role because I always see there's so many opportunities. You know what I mean? Like there's so much stuff that
Yeah.
we can do better here. And I have a unique perspective because I know all of the lines of business now because I was in that
Yeah.
role. So,
Very good point, and it's a very good point, and as things keep changing, like, tools come available,
mhm,
like, you're switching everything over to Rent Cafe, which
mhm.
is a beast all in its own, but the possibilities are super endless at this point. You'll never be bored.
Yeah.
It's not like you ever really are, it's just what's crazy to me is how passionate both of us are about housing and property management, yet, like I said, we've known each other for a while,
Mhm. Yeah.
and never once have we talked about
I
this
know. Isn't that crazy?
up until what, like a week or 2 ago? Like,
Yeah.
we never talked about this. I find that to be one of the most fascinating things because most people talk about what they do for a living off the bat,
Mhm.
off the get-go. Like,
Mhm.
whenever you meet somebody, the first question's always like, "So what do you do?" That wasn't our
Yeah.
questions. Like, we just didn't talk about that, which is so funny. We talked about I don't even know what we talked about. Were you running? Are you a runner?
Mhm. Mhm.
I think we talked
We
about
talked about
running,
that, politics. Yeah. Your
politics,
guys'
the kids.
neighborhood drama.
Okay, listen, we had a lot of
You
neighborhood
did.
drama. I think it's still pretty bad, but it's not as bad as Fence-mageddon was. That was the worst. That was by far the worst. And then with the HOA coming through. But then
Mhm.
and then you came over to the school, and
Mhm.
so you switched schools, and I
Yeah.
know, my daughter was there at the same time your daughter's was coming in,
Mhm.
and soccer. Didn't
Yes.
your
Yes,
ki
Liz did
yep, okay,
soccer.
hold on.
Yep.
We talked about, like,
All these
everything
different
else.
spheres we crossed, but
Never the
never the
work.
career. Like
But I'm excited about that. I'm
Mhm.
excited about that. I think it's really, really unique and really cool that people can have that type
Mhm.
of an interaction and never once talk about work. I think work is great, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't define who you
Very
are.
good. Yeah.
It just defines what you do to earn money unless you're following your passion, which to me sounds like you did both.
Mm-hmm.
You earned money and you still followed your passion and you still like intrigued yourself mentally by
Yeah.
by being able to progress within your own
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
How did that how did how so I know for me, being a property manager and being in this industry definitely had its toll and impact on my kids and what they see as
Mm-hmm.
well. We see some heinous things. We see some really dark sides of life because, again, when you work where other people live, you see how they live.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make that be like that's the real, but it is a different side. How does that impact you? How does it impact you?
I mean, I'm sure you've said this too. All property management does. Like, a, I could write a book, of like
Yeah.
crazy stories of things that tenants have done, um, things we've seen. Um, I'll come home and talk about stories because it's cathartic or whatever. And it's funny because I don't even know. I think they do now, but for a long time, I don't think my kids knew what I did. I don't think they
Really?
understood what I did. Um, but more and more, I think they understand now. Like they used to just say I worked at an apartment. Like she works at an apartment.
Mm, yeah.
But now I think like we talk more like our kids are older now, so we'll talk a lot about like you know, getting a good job so that you can pay your bills, you can get a nice house, you can like, support yourself. And I will share with them like, people that I house, they can't afford these things and they, have to get assistance. It's not easy to get. You guys,
Mhm.
it's not that's not how you guys want to live, right? So like you need to like you're lucky to have supports because a lot of my residents they did not have the supports that my kids are they're getting less they're learning crap from their parents where a lot of our residents they didn't even have parents to teach them.
Right,
um
right.
so yeah, I don't know like I
Would you let your kids go into this industry? So you see this, you
mhm,
see either parents not letting their kids get into this industry, or you just see nepotism galore, where they're
mhm,
like
mhm,
a whole family owns and manages
yeah.
apartment communities. What's your take on that?
Well, I don't know like I think the whole piece of like the permanent supportive housing thing, like I wouldn't care. I wouldn't mind if my kids like pursued that just from a standpoint of it's really hard to find people who want to do this work and want to do it long term because people get burnt out. It is like social work,
Yeah,
right? You get burnt
yeah,
out pretty quickly. So if they would be interested, definitely. Neither one of them, I don't think either one of them have a tilt towards social work at all in their bones. So I don't foresee that happening, but I don't know. Like I also am like I don't know if fearless is the right word. Maybe it's stupid. Um, maybe that's what it
I'm in the same
is,
boat.
right? Like I have put myself in positions that were probably not smart and not safe. Like I had a tenant years ago. This is when my first gig at CHN. I'm really close with my tenants and I think that we are like friendly, like we're close, like I respect you, I treat them with
Yeah,
respect. And
yeah.
I like had he was dealing in my building. And I thought it would be a good idea to serve him his eviction notice in my office in person by myself. And my
Oh my
office
god.
was
Oh
like
my god.
the door was on this side of the desk and he comes and like whatever
Ugh,
it was fine. It went fine. We had a great conversation. He was really angry and, whatever. He leaves. And I was just like, that was really stupid. Like, what did I do? Like, he
you
could
could
have
have really gotten hurt, like,
really. So
really
I've
badly.
done dumb things like that before, but I think after I do it, I'm like, okay, lesson learned. That was not smart. And I've been in so many situations. I actually, for a time period when I was doing the project management training gig, I got CPI certified, crisis manage or crisis de-escalation. What does CPI stand for?
Yeah, yeah.
Crisis. God, what did that stand for? I had that certification for years. Anywho, I trained our staff on like crisis stuff, and I would tell like, don't do what Katie does. Don't do what I do. Don't do dumb things like me.
Do the opposite.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too
So that I
funny.
could see my kids not being cognizant of their surroundings because they're so sheltered. And I think that's probably why earlier in my career I did things like that, because I was so sheltered to not recognize that, like, okay, some of our residents, they come to us with pretty big trauma, and their
Yeah.
normal response to something is not what
Uh-uh.
others' normal response would be, you know? So,
No.
I thankfully, knock on wood, I didn't learn that like the hard way, so to speak. I haven't
Yeah. Yeah.
gotten myself in any trouble, but I've put myself in some risky situations.
Being in this industry, it's not hard to be put into those type of situations, even when you plan, even
Mhm,
when you prepare. You truly just don't know. You're
mhm.
dealing with the public, and in some cases, you're dealing with them at their worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
At some in some cases. Like I never forget that story. I think it was in Florida, where the property manager put out like small balance notices of like water, and the old guy, like very unassuming guy, came into the leasing office with a gun
Mm.
and threatened them. He let the assistant leave and he shot the manager.
Oh,
It went pretty viral. Manager lived, but still, this is a normal thing.
yeah.
And like even I was out at one of our properties, and there was a resident threatening us with an AK-47.
Mm,
Just for what?
mhm.
Literally for what? And it's just it can be a scary world, but can also be really rewarding
Yeah.
when you know you're helping people and you know you're still doing right,
Mhm.
regardless of which side you're on, like affordable or
Yeah.
for profit. I don't even conventional. I was like, what the hell is my
Conventional,
side
yeah.
called? Conventional. Like, what is it called? Um, if you could give anybody listening to the She Sweet Society advice, just life advice, honestly, like more life advice. I mean, it can be work advice, but prefer about life. What would you say is a piece of advice you would give them that they could sort of pocket in their brain when they're maneuvering through life? What's something you live a rule you live by? Not the don't do Katie's way.
You're right.
What's a rule you would live by that you could pass along?
Mm. Oh, so I've actually been using this mantra a lot at work, but it applies in life too. Is I don't worry until I have to. And I've been saying this at work a lot because, everybody's freaking out. We're getting a new CEO. What's going to happen? Oh, is she going to change everything? And I'm like, why am I wasting energy worrying until I have to? If and
Yeah.
when they come in and they do the thing and they change something, and then in that moment, maybe if I have to worry, I'll worry. But like, why waste your time in anything in life? Like, why stress out over what the unknowns, what could happen? What Just wait until it happens and then take it when it comes. Like, I don't have time. You know what I mean? I don't like that
Uh-huh.
feeling. I hate the feeling of being worried and anxious. And so
Yeah.
I just
It's not a
choose,
good
and
feeling.
I know it's really easier said than done, but I just choose not to.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. Plus, I think a lot of the time when people worry about stuff, you're assuming the worst. It could also just be the best. What's the harm in assuming the best? I don't know. I really like that piece of advice. See, that's good. See? Works for both work and personal. Don't worry unless you have to. Well, I love that. Well, thank you for joining me today and spending this time. We could talk forever about our stories for with property management, and maybe we'll get the chance to here soon.
And there you have it. She Sweet Society, what a joy it's been diving into Katie Elsass's journey today. From social work aspirations to housing hero, all while navigating the beautiful chaos of motherhood and property management. I think we can all take Katie's advice to heart. Don't worry until you have to. In an industry where we quite literally work, where people live, where every day brings new challenges and unexpected situations, those words hit differently. They remind us that while preparation is key, we don't need to carry tomorrow's troubles today. Whether you're managing properties, managing a household, or managing to keep your dreams alive through it all, save your worry for when it's actually needed. Just might be the self care we all deserve.
Katie, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your heart, and for being my friend all these years, even when we were clueless that our professional paths were running parallel. Until next time, She Sweet Society, remember to take care of your spaces, take care of each other, and most importantly, take care of yourself.